Next we have Heidi Nabert.
Welcome, everybody. I left my notes and my computer in a different location, so this is going to be off the cuff. First of all, I'm so pleased to be sitting next to these amazing women. And just full disclosure, I'm also a survivor of sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse, so I totally relate from where you're coming from. And oddly enough, when I researched that way back when, found that 1 in 7 girls and 1 in 4 boys are sexually abused. And again, we're not addressing those 1 in 4 boys, and they don't have a voice. And I think it's abhorrent that these individuals that perpetrate that kind of abuse on children get a 2-year sentence when the child has a life sentence. So it's just my speech on that one issue. To get on to what I do and what Fathers Resources International has been doing for 24 years, it all started with my husband, who unfortunately passed away 14 months ago, who was a stay-at-home dad when I met him, and I could not believe the amount of, or the lack of services for him, and the struggles that he had as a stay-at-home dad. He eventually embraced this whole issue, and we jointly launched Fathers Resources, and he began offering services. He became a certified law clerk, and between the two of us, we produced a whole series of education programs specifically for fathers. So the main issue really comes down to the family courts, and again, this is strictly my opinion, are stuck in the 1950s when moms are home baking and waiting for their husbands to arrive, who is the main breadwinner. That's not today. That hasn't been today for 30, 40 years. You look at most households today, if you find a stay-at-home mom, it's a surprise. Oddly enough, there are more stay-at-home dads today because they've unfortunately ended up out of the workforce. That aside, if the whole purpose behind feminism and women's rights came down to my right to drive a dump truck or work on the electrical line or work in a nuclear plant, you know, those typical, or engineering, those typical male jobs, what's wrong with a man staying at home changing diapers and taking care of a child? That, in my opinion, is equality. And yet, I have seen and met with so many stay-at-home dads, and as soon as their marriage falls apart, the women who are the breadwinners get the children, and the children are taken care of by a nanny, which is beyond my comprehension. Why is that? The family courts do not see that the children deserve and need to have both parents in their lives as much as possible. As much as I say I believe in shared parenting, that doesn't necessarily mean 50-50 timeshare. It's whatever you can conjure up as being possible. The more time you spend with your child, the more they learn from you, the more interaction, the more solid foundation that child has. I grew up without my father. I had no self-esteem. I thought love was associated with sex because I was sexually abused as a child. And had my father been in my life, that sexual abuse probably would have stopped a lot sooner, and I would have believed that I was beautiful. My mother didn't give me that because that's not her job. That's not her role. Every man I've ever met who has a daughter thinks she's the most beautiful child. There's no argument there. I can see you smiling. All that aside, I want to share something, and it's something that really kind of shocked me. I was moving from one office to another, basically from Pape and Danforth down to Chester and Danforth, and the parking permit that I had didn't work at that location. So I had to park right on Logan if anybody knows Greektown. And I ended up parking right in front of a school. And every morning I had to go down. I was able to go down then and move the car. So I'd be down there at 8:30 in the morning in front of this elementary school. And to my surprise, the large majority, and I mean large majority, 70 to 80% of the parents that were walking their children to school were male. Totally shocking to me. I don't know if these guys were out of work, if they were stay-at-home dads, if they worked from home, or they were able to arrange flex time with their position at work, or how they conducted their business. But wow, unbelievable, wonderful. And yet when you end up in front of a family court judge, you are a nothing. You are only a revenue stream. Because child support is more important than anything else. And I'm not here to say child support's not important. We have to both parents have to financially support our children, but we equally have to support their emotional well-being. Because if they're emotionally unstable, it doesn't matter how many iPads or iPhones or other toys those kids get from all that financial stuff, they're still going to be a mess. So next time you have an opportunity to call your MP and your MPP and the Attorney General, tell them there's a problem in family court. This will not change unless people let those officials out there know that there's a problem. Because guess what? Your silence is also a message. And the message is, it's all working fine. And we all know it's not. And as these women have pointed out, men typically do not speak up. Why? Because you're supposed to man up. You're not supposed to have problems. You're supposed to be together. You can't have any emotions. The bottom line is we're both human beings, regardless of our gender. And it's important that our courts be brought up to the speed of the fact that it's 2016, not 1950. That's all I have to say.
Are we living in a gender war that it has to be either men or either women getting the help that they need?
I'll address that a little bit. I think oftentimes, at least this has been my experience, that a lot of the women's groups feel that if some of the issues pertaining to men are going to start being funded, that funding is going to be taken away from them. I think really that wouldn't be the objective. The objective is that there, regardless of your gender, there are issues, and services should be there. And I think we women can pat ourselves on the back for getting so much in place in the last 50 years. And men have just carried on and not taken the steps necessary to make sure that those services are there for them. I guess because they're too busy taking care of everything or think they have to. So it's difficult for men to ask for help. That's been my experience. So that's part of the problem, I think. The young men that come through our doors these days, the 20-year-olds, the 22-year-olds, the 24-year-olds, are shocked, thoroughly shocked at the inequality that's perpetrated on them because they're a father versus a man who might be 45 or 50. There's a huge difference in their expectations. So, on the one hand, you'd think maybe they would step up and do something. I've always said, I think the only way this will change is women will change it.